It's day 3 of Sktchy's 30 Faces 30 Days, and we're painting Alice. She has a lot of beautiful color in her portrait, and the angle of her face is challenging, so let's begin. The tip for the day included the idea of using mark making in the initial phases of your sketch. And in one way, I included that in the sense that I was very sketchy about how I went about drawing her face with the pencil tool. And the pencil tool is effective at showing through in places. And so in some ways that was mark making, but that wasn't really the intent of today's lesson. But since the Procreate app allows for layers, I decided to add my mark making as layers in one of my layers, especially when I handle the flowers that she's wearing on her head later. I really loved the idea of the light that flowed in from the right side of this picture, added very distinct shades of blue shadowing on the sides of her face and even her nose, and even her eye color looked changed by the shadow. And so I did my best to kind of even amplify that a bit to just to show that really interesting feature off. I also loved working with this color palette. It's not something I normally do, and I found that finding the right colors that I wanted to use it took a lot of trial and error, and my eye kept seeing different shades of purples and blues that the selection of the right color was really intensely challenging. I guess as it is. I think every time I do record another challenge, I'm always saying it's challenging. That's because they're supposed to be. I loved making the flowers, and that's where most of my mark making came in, and I made it more intentional, which was probably not really true to the heart of what the prompt was about, but I loved using the tools that Procreate allows to add some extra detail to my picture that I wouldn't normally add in the form of the texture of the flowers. I really enjoyed today's challenge, and thanks for joining me.